What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we're going to have the big one. We're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy at E3 2021. If it's going to be there, if it's there, what will they show, all that stuff. So if you haven't noticed, I've been covering these games going to E3 over this last week. I started May 1st. I'm going to be continuing it all throughout May. I love making these kinds of videos, and I think I've actually made this before for when it was the Harry Potter, open world RPG, what we knew about it, I guess, going into last year's E3. And remember, Warner Bros. Was going to go to last year's E3. Obviously, it was canceled because of certain things that we won't say the official name of here. But they were going to go. They were going to show the Harry Potter game, which obviously would have become Hogwarts Legacy. And then, that was scrapped. So would it be at this year's E3? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. And I cannot wait. Obviously, I think it's what a lot of people regarding Hogwarts Legacy are thinking. It's natural. It's okay. I don't really... people will probably get mad at certain videos like this. I see this as, we're going to get excited. We're going to get all hyped up if we kind of agree that it's going to be there. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and we'll explain why. Before I get too far in, make sure, if you guys have not yet already, we're so close to 50K. We've been doing so well the past couple weeks or so. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. Give the video a like. Really helps YouTube spread the video out. And, let's just share it, whatever you want to do, just to help this video do as big as it possibly can. Okay, we'll maybe talk a little bit more about E3 in regards to Hogwarts Legacy as we get closer. If there's any leaks or rumors, I'll absolutely be covering it. And then obviously, if it is at the E3, we're gonna have an insane time together, right? There'll be E3 plans, and we'll talk about that in future videos. Okay, I really think the odds are high. I really do, and I'll tell you why. This video is going up before the video on Gotham Knights. So I'm actually going to do a separate video on Gotham Knights, talk about if that's going to be at E3, but I already recorded it. So I'm thinking about what I said there, even though you guys haven't seen it yet. But to bring Gotham Knights in, and you'll understand why in a second, DC fandom is happening again this year. Okay, it happened last year. Obviously, that's where we got Gotham Knights. That's where we got Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And for people that are just into Hogwarts Legacy, they don't care about that. Cool. Well, DC fandom is back this year, and the thing that confuses me or makes me somewhat doubt that Gotham Knights would be at this year's E3 is that they could easily do it at DC fandom. And it's, do they want to do it twice? Do they want to just do it once and pick DC fandom over E3? What do they want to do? Hogwarts Legacy doesn't have that issue, and that's why, in my opinion, I think it's almost a slam dunk. I'm not telling you, I think I said this for Gotham, I'm not telling you to go cash a check with my name on it that said, Alex promises the game's going to be at E3. I've made the mistake of almost guarantee. I haven't guaranteed pretty much anything in my entire YouTube career, but I've gotten close, and I think I've upset people in that way. I don't want to do that anymore. People have not really called me on it because I haven't really done it. They'll make things up and they'll get mad at me, so I just don't want that drama in my life, okay? So don't cash any checks. I mean, if it's, signed to you and all that stuff, feel free to cash it. But I really do think the odds are high because, what I think we've learned about Hogwarts Legacy, and I've said this like 1,000 times ever since we first heard the rumors, it's a big enough game where they can talk about it whenever they want. They could do a blog post, they could do an IGN first, they could do a Game Informer, they can do literally whatever they want, including doing it completely on their own. They don't need, trust me, a game like Hogwarts Legacy does not need anybody's help to garner interest, okay? Now, with that being said, I do think big events help. You look at the trailer for Hogwarts Legacy, it is one of the biggest game trailers I think of all time. In terms of viewership, it really is. Was that boosted because it was at a state of play from Sony that was one of the biggest state of plays we've ever gotten? We had God of War was announced there. It was a really, really big one. Did that help? Yeah, it absolutely helped. It absolutely helped. So I do think, I stand by what I've said before. Hogwarts Legacy doesn't need E3, doesn't need Gamescom, doesn't need Game Awards, doesn't need any of this stuff. It can go whenever. But do those things help? Yes. Warner Bros. Is going to E3. They're going to have their own show. What could you really show at Warner Bros.? Well, let's go over it. Gotham Knights. But again, conflicting. Do they show Gotham Knights? Do they save it for DC fandom? Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Exact same thing I just said for Gotham Knights. Lego Star Wars. They could show that. But is that going to be like their big game for E3. Hope not. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm gonna get it day one. I'm ready for it. But do I think it's like the biggest game of all time? No. So they have that. Technically, they were the publishers of Back 4 Blood. Could they announce NetherRealm's game, whether it's a Marvel fighting game or an Injustice 3 or whatever? Monolith, the makers of the Middle-earth games. Could they show that? Could they show a mystery game? Sure. So they have 5, 6, 7 things they could potentially show. I think they could show all of it and just destroy everybody. Honestly, if they showed everything I just said, they'd be the winners of E3. They'd beat Microsoft, and Microsoft has quite a bit to show. But that's if they show everything. If they don't want to show everything, again, maybe you space things out. Maybe it doesn't make sense to do Back 4 Blood there because you're the publisher of it, but you don't own the studio. Maybe it's not that big of a deal to you. Maybe you don't need E3 to do something like that. Lego Star Wars, I do think makes, by the way, a lot of sense to do at E3. But again, Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Killer Justice League, maybe you save for DC Fandom. You don't have to do it at E3 if you don't want to. Hogwarts Legacy is that game. I really believe it. And also remember this. You have to remember when the game was supposed to come out. So yeah, it was delayed massively, probably. I guess I'm assuming that, right? I think the game was delayed probably a full year. I think the game was supposed to come out October, November this year, and now it's probably going to come out October, November next year. That's my personal opinion. That doesn't have to be right. It could easily come out next spring or next summer. It does not have to come out next fall, obviously, right? But that's just my assumption. But it was supposed to come out this fall. I think you could show something else. I don't think you necessarily need to show gameplay, although quite honestly, being a year and a half out. So let's assume it's at the latest point possible, so like next November. Even if it's that, from E3, that's only like a year and 5-ish months. It's not even a full year and a half. So you have a little less than a year and a half. There's been many games throughout the history of the industry that can show gameplay at this time. So, honestly, to me, it's not only do I think it will be there. I really do. I'm not betting. I actually am. I was going to say I'm not a betting guy. I do sports betting, stuff like that. I do stocks and stuff. So, yes, I do, dabble in that kind of stuff. But I don't think I would bet necessarily on it. I think I feel pretty good about it, though. So if it has nothing to do with money, I feel like I would bet on it. And really, to me, it moves past that and moves to what do they do? Do they show kind of an extended gameplay thing? I think you could. I really think you could. Could you just show another trailer? Yeah. But I mean, we saw a trailer. We got a little glimpse of what, like a group of things that we're going to be doing in the game. I think the next time you see the game, it should be game. In my personal opinion, I think the next time you see the game, it should be gameplay. So, we can go more in depth in that and what specifically I'd like to see, as we get closer. Maybe that can be a future video for Hogwarts Legacy as we get closer to E3, which, by the way, E3 starts, I believe, June 12th. So we're about a month away. We're very, very close from E3. So we're going to have answers soon. There will be, I assume, loads of fake and real leaks and rumors as we go through May. Like the second half of May, there's going to be probably a leak every other day about things that will or will not happen that either is going to be true or not true. So it's going to get exciting and very, the movie Fast and Furious, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's going to be like that in terms of leaks. So we got to be careful of what we're believing, of what we're, running with. But I really think the odds are high that this game is here. And again, the final thing I'll say is the reason I think it's so passionately is they need things to show. I listed off 6, maybe 7 things they could show. Not all of them I think will be there. Okay, that's just my opinion. And if you don't do Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad Killer Justice League, I think Hogwarts Legacy is and you could argue it's their biggest game, even including Gotham Knights. I mean, they're very different groups. Gotham Knights has its own huge fan base. Obviously, DC is very big. If they did like an Injustice 3 or a Marvel fighting game, like that would be enormous. But the Harry Potter community is ginormous. Like it's not even, I don't even know how to explain how big that community is. And as we've said before, there's going to be a lot of people that buy Hogwarts Legacy that don't even play games, that maybe don't even own a console right now, but will get one anyway. I think there'll be loads of people like that because this kind of stretches further than just gaming. This stretches into a fandom that is literally one of the biggest things in you can compare it to Star Wars, you can compare it to Marvel and stuff like that. I mean, you could. I don't really love comparisons like that anyway, but Harry Potter's huge, right? So I think that it would be their biggest thing. And then, like, after this, they really got nothing. Like, there's not, again, like, they don't need shows. But unless they're going to do Gamescom, or unless they're going to do, because again, you can't do DC Fandom, like Hogwarts Legacy is not DC, so you can't do DC Fandom in October. So unless you do Game Awards in December, or again, I guess you just go on your own, then then we're living in a world where we're not going to get Hogwarts Legacy until next year. And then by getting it, I mean trailer, gameplay, interviews, anything. We're not going to get anything until the beginning of next year, which is very possible. Don't count it out. You know what I mean? Like, I would say almost brace yourself for the worst case scenario. That way you won't be disappointed. But I don't want to live in that. It's not necessarily, again, a negative thing, because it's definitely possible, but I don't really want to live in that kind of world where that could happen. So I'm really hoping E3, because honestly, if it's not at E3, unless it's at Game Awards, which honestly I have less and less hope that big things are at Game Awards, then I really think we have to wait another more than 6 months actually, until we get this game. So, until we get trailers, gameplay, stuff like that. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be there? What do you think they'll show? Again, if the video does good, and obviously I'm going to be ramping up the E3 coverage, especially the second half of May, we'll be talking more about it. So I'll kind of go back to this. We'll talk about what specifically they need to show, things like that, okay? I will be covering E3. I have a lot of really big plans. I don't know which ones I'm going to do yet, though. I have 1,000 plans, and I'll try to pick some, but I'll let you guys know what the plan is for E3 as we get there. As you know, though we do Hogwarts Legacy videos every 4 or 5 days on this channel. So make sure, if you haven't already, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, so you see all this stuff that I'm doing. Hit the like button. Definitely helps the video out. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.